Yeah. Now, if you look at my screen, you will see this stable noble gas configuration. Just want to check. Did you all finish this part yet? Chapter 8 in school. Have you all finished it? Not yet. Okay. Chapter 8 is atoms and molecules. Okay, so this part on ions is not actually part of the syllabus, but I checked with many of the Sec 1 students. They said that actually their school gave them notes on this. It's just not taught yet, but in the exam is covered. So that's why I choose to teach today lah. Yeah. So can I maybe also ask, when is your exam? Do you have any idea? Do you have the dates to the exam yet? You have, give it to me, the science exam date. For Jared, it's 1st October. Heidi says 10th October. Fiona, another different date. Carries your science exam, okay, 30th September, same as a student, Fiona. So yours is actually, so why are you here today? I think you also sign up for mathematics, yeah, right? You sign up for mathematics as well. Okay. Have you attended the math class yet? Not yet. Okay. So Paris, you sign up for this because you are thinking of doing better in science. Is that right? Or is it because your mom asked you to come?
It's because like in class, like the teacher doesn't really teach, so there's like I don't really understand the concepts that well. Yeah.
But exams coming very soon. How do you think you can?
Cause other chapters were still manageable, cause like it was quite easy for me. But then to like atoms and the rest, it's like a little bit hard to understand, cause it's like not learned before.
Okay, understand. So yeah, in fact, if you ask Evan, I taught quite a bit of this early part of the year mixed with another chapter. You remember not? The atoms and the molecules at Evan, because difficult not to teach this part here during that time, because there are also questions that came up. All right. So in this one, this is actually the very last part. So in fact, I have completed the whole year syllabus with the students, but we are doing revision soon. Okay. And then during the revision, I will again bring in materials and also do recap for every topic. Yeah, I think that will be very good, right, for all of you here. Okay, so under this part here, last week we actually went through some things. Heidi, hello, you can turn on your video if possible. Okay, so last week we covered this part. Let me just open up last week's slides that I have gone through. Just a quick recap. So in case you all cannot follow, because if you want to know this part here, right, you also need to go back to what was taught earlier. Okay, hold on. Maybe I share this with you first. Okay, can you all see this? Atoms and molecules. Can see my slides here, right? Can I? Good. So this is the beginning of atoms and molecules. So at first we will actually look at what is required for this chapter. Okay, so under MOE's website, you can download the syllabus. What is the meaning of syllabus? Syllabus actually contain all the learning outcomes for all the science topics. Okay, you have to download the correct one. Not difficult to find, but if you want a copy of this, I can, of course, send it to you. So this is for Chapter 8, Model of Matter, Atoms and Molecules. What you need to know is actually you need to state atom as an entity that's made out of what? Made out of protons, neutrons, and electrons. So this part you must memorize. Okay, so what will come out for exam later on, I will tell you, okay, some of the things that will be tested. Then recognize that atoms, right, okay, have mass that is mainly contributed by the mass of the nucleus. Show awareness that atoms have unique number of protons, and then understand that molecule is a group of two or more atoms chemically combined. So all this should be still okay, right? Then the number and the types of atoms, right, are actually represented by the chemical formula. Okay, what is chemical formula? For example, this one, okay, C6H12O6. This is the formula for sugar. So in one molecule of sugar, you have what? 6 carbon atoms, 12 hydrogen atoms, and 6 oxygen atoms. This part here, are you still okay? All of you, if you're okay, give me a thumbs up. You all still remember this part or no clue at all? Yeah, if you're okay, just give me a thumbs up. Okay, everyone is okay, Yeah, good. So if you are okay, let's go on. Now, model of an atom. The most important part I'll quickly run through because this is like a recap. So atom has got 3 subatomic particles: protons, electrons, neutrons. Where are they found inside the atom? You must know, okay, there is this center dense portion, which is called the nucleus. It contains protons and neutrons, right? And then surrounding the nucleus, you have the electrons. They move actually along something called like the electron shells. So what are you going to learn later? You're going to learn the electronic configuration, which means how the atoms are being arranged inside the atom. Okay? So atoms are electrically neutral. What do we mean by that? They carry no charge. So the number of protons equal to the number of electrons. So again, you might be thinking, how does that actually show that it is electrically neutral? So over here, okay, the table. Now, subatomic particles, protons and neutrons, they are found inside the nucleus, right? They have this symbol, okay, P and N, respectively. Small p, small n. Relative mass, okay, is 1 and 1. Why relative? Because it's being compared to something else to derive this number. Now, the charges here, take note, 1 proton carries 1 positive charge. 1 neutron carries 0 charge. So 1,000 neutrons, still 0 charge, okay? But electrons are negatively charged. So every 1 electron is 1 minus charge here. Then if you have 10 of them, then of course it will be minus 10. So how do you remember? Just remember P, okay? P is like positive, that's why last one. Neutron is like neutral, therefore no charge. Put it as 0. Okay, so just make sure you know these numbers. Why? In the exam, I have seen the table come out, right? And then there are blanks here and there. Students are supposed to fill up the information. Okay, I have also seen one exam papers, right? One particular exam paper from, can't remember the school, but the entire table was blank. Only the heading was given. So subatomic particles, symbol, relative mass, and the charge. The rest of the info students must fill up themselves. Okay. Now, electron, very much smaller and lighter. Okay. Then why is that so? Because if you compare the relative mass, okay, you take 1 divided by 1836, it is extremely, extremely small. Okay, so that value, right, tells you already it is very, very light. Okay, and they are moving around the nucleus all the time. So this one, I'm going to go on first. This one no need to harp on it. Now, let's see. This is a periodic table, okay? So if you look at the periodic table, right, you will see all these boxes right now. So if I were to pull out beryllium from the periodic table, you will see a number at the top, which is 4, number at the bottom, which is 9. Okay, then of course, there's the symbol to show you the representation for beryllium, and of course, the full name. Now, what is this number at the top? Is known as proton number. So far, y'all can remember, right? You can actually refer to the periodic table to know what these are. Okay, so the number at the bottom is called nucleon number. They also call this the mass number. So if you are going to look at this number at the bottom, we also call these the relative atomic mass or even the mass number. Now, one thing you need to know, because nucleon number, the name nucleon, right, suggests it is the nucleus, something to do with the nucleus. So it contains what? The number of protons and neutrons in the atom, okay? Because protons and neutrons are only inside the nucleus. So proton number tells you the number of protons. That means that every time I see this info from the periodic table, I know that beryllium, okay, so beryllium, right, has got 4 protons, okay? Its atom will also have 4 electrons. All right, because 4 protons means what? It has a +4 charge. Then 4 electrons is -4. +4 and -4, they cancel out, it becomes neutral. So that's why atoms are electrically neutral. So how many neutrons will there be? You just need to take this, minus away the number of protons. All right, and that will be 5. So this is how we determine the information. So these are the values of the subatomic particles. Just looking at the periodic table, you can get all the info. Now, with this info, what are you going to do with it? All right. What are you going to do with it? Okay, this is useful. Okay, I have already shown you all the, we talked about the electrons, we talked about the electron shells, right? So we are going to go into the electron shells and so on. So electronic structure, okay, this is what I don't want to go through because not necessary. Okay, so electronic structure, usually we start with the nucleus right in the center. Then electrons are moving all around the nucleus, right? So must remember this part. Okay, how the electrons are arranged, we call it the electronic structure. Okay, so this is the first electron shell, this is the second electron shell, and this is the third electron shells. Okay, the electrons are always found in the electron shells, but how are they found? Okay, is this the part that you're a little bit confused? Yeah, Clarice, you are a bit confused here, right? Okay, so don't worry. Now, each shell is numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on, going outwards. So this will be, okay, I think I have it in the slides here. This will be electron shell 1 or the first shell. This is the second shell, and this is the third shell. So sometimes you can go beyond that, but of course, at secondary level, usually you will only draw up to 4 shells. Okay, only up to 4 shells. And the fourth one is never filled. Never. Because you only need to draw the first 20 elements. So if I were to indicate here, right? First 20 elements will be what you need to know. How do you determine the first 20? Look at proton number. So proton number of 1, right? What is that? Hydrogen. If it's a proton number of 2, then it's helium, and so on. So you only learn up to 20 elements. So proton number 20. And what is that? You should have calcium there. Okay? So if you have your periodic table with you, of course, it will be very, very good. Now, also take note, okay, first shell, there are some rules to follow. How do you fill up the electrons inside the shell? First shell only takes 2 electrons. So we always go in a certain order to fill up the electrons, okay? So the top and the bottom, okay, we don't put 2 together, we don't put in any position as we like it. There's always certain rule. Why? Later I'll explain. Okay, second shell takes maximum of 8 electrons. It's only filled up after the first shell is full. That means already the first shell has 2 electrons, right? Whatever remaining, you have to put into the second shell. Okay, and then, of course, let's say the second shell is full, right? You saw how the electrons are appearing in a clockwise direction, isn't it? Okay, after the second shell is full, we go on to fill up the third shell. Third shell can take also maximum of 8 electrons. Take note, you only go on to the next shell when this current one is filled up. Okay, if it's fully filled, you move on to a new shell. Otherwise, you don't.